Hello, all my recruits and my vets, all my Malazan people. Hood himself here, also known as Hood's Bony Prang on Iskar's Discord. And I'm here to actually talk to you today a little bit about my favorite and namesake deity, the Dark Hoarder of Souls, the Hooded One, the Shrouded One, Embracer of the Fallen, Lord of Grief, the Grey One, also known as Hood, the Lord of Death. And my main reason for making this video today is to kind of talk about why I chose him as my namesake and why I kind of, like Hood, or as Iskar said, why I vibe with Hood so much. And before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and throw up my very first spoiler warning. So, if you are a recruit and you're in this video and you're checking this thing out, get out now. Like now. Because I'm going to spoil a lot of crap if you don't. Toodles. Alright, so, here we go. Why Hood? Why did I choose Hood as my namesake? Why do I stan him so hard? Well, here we go. In my personal opinion, number one, he is, other than maybe a few others like, I'd say maybe Male, Cotillion, and Krull, he has the most compassion and he also values life more than most of the other ascendants in the series, which is, you know, decidedly odd for a god of death in most fantasy novels. Again, and a lot of this is going to be a lot of parallels to the video on Hood that Iskar Jirak did a little while ago, but hey, deal with it. It is what it is. So, let me explain myself. I've got some examples to kind of back this up. So, first example. There were several gods that vehemently opposed the use of Byrne's hammer. Once Byrne had become infected by our friend, the crippled god, good old Kaminsad, he, I believe, Animander Rake, and I can't remember who else, but they very strongly opposed the use of the hammer as a means to kind of wipe the slate clean, and kind of using that to get rid of the infection, but it would have wiped out, all life on the planet. So, yeah, everybody owes Hood a big thank you. Next example. In Memory of Ice, and this is prior to the Siege of Capistan, Hood offered essentially what amounted to free passage out of the city and out of this nightmare of a situation that they were all in. And he offered this via his Warren, to the Grey Swords. He even offered, I believe, to be their new patron, but was vehemently refused by Brucalion. I believe he even got backhanded with Brucalion's sword or something like that, or at least his herald Gethal did. But yeah, I mean, he made the offer. He reached out and gave the olive branch to humanity when he really didn't need to, in all honesty. Most other gods of death in most series as I've ever read would have just sat in the background, just gleefully rubbing their hands together at the prospect of an entire city full of souls making their way down to their realm. Not Hood, though. Hood was like, nah, fam, I don't want this for you guys. I'm giving you a way out. Please take it. I'll even be your patron deity. And they were just like, nah, fuck you, man. We're going to stand this one out. Back to your realm with you. All right. Reason number 3. He... And again, I believe this is still Memories of... Yeah, this is Memories of Ice still. Hood kind of entered into a little agreement sort of thing. At least that's how I interpreted it. And arranged for the care of the Mybe, which was one of the most tragic storylines in the entire series, and one of the most, kind of wrenching, but at the same time relatable stories in this entire series, um, he basically offered the refuge of the dream realm, kind of like Telon, um, rather than death. And I believe in the books, uh, Krull himself uh, caught wind of this or witnessed the this, and he was even Krull was kind of like floored by the generosity that Hood showed towards one random human woman, mortal person. Well, I mean Rivi, but yeah. All right. Reason number 4. There are many instances also of Hood showing up for or to mortals whose deeds and deaths were worthy or tragic. The first one that comes to mind is Bowden or Bowden or Bodan or how, again, pronunciation. Sorry, guys. Um, uh, where um, one of these individuals will pass, they will die, they will meet their end, and Hood comes for them himself as a sign of respect, as a sign of uh, him deeming their efforts and their lives worthy. And that's a big deal. Again, it shows a very non-cynical side of a death god, which is something that you don't get all that often in a lot of major literature. All right, moving on to another reason. Here we go. This example, I believe, is from the Bone Hunters. Now, you guys like Niflrog, who are like in there with the page numbers, help me out with these because I'm not that in detail. But I believe it's the Bone Hunters, where the Jade Strangers from the sky, these, meteorites, essentially, asteroids, are falling and about to impact the planet. Now, for those of us on this planet, something like that can cause a planet-wide catastrophe. And basically, Hood helped divert that. I mean, he returned Heberic to life so that Heberic could reach through the Jade statue and reach up all those Jade arms from Atatarol Island, basically kind of shielding and allowing him to act as a shield anvil to protect, in essence, the entire planet. Um, Again, just another example of a death god going out of their way to avoid unnecessary deaths. And I don't know, there's compassion there, and there is something to be respected there, at least in my opinion. All right, I've got a few more examples. Some of them are, along the same lines. Some of them are goofy, and we'll get into those in a minute. But the last one, and this one's a big one for me personally, is how much he actually just hates the Forkril Assail and the Forkrillian bastardization of justice, the concept and the idea of justice. And again, if you haven't left because of spoilers yet, go now. Go right now. There are a couple scenes where this is played out, and they're, again, at the very, very end of the books, of the series, even. The face biting of Equity, once Hood has returned to his mortal body, and has relinquished the role of the Lord of Death, and has, again, kind of taken up his Omtos Falak powers and everything. And he encounters Equity, and yeah, his hunger for face is just insatiable, and I love it. I can't help it. He just utters one single sentence, "I hate Forkril Assail," and then full on bites her face off, killing her. Just amazing. I love it. Then the other one would be him personally showing up at the Spire during the siege of the Spire, and and basically dealing with and slaying Sister Reverence um, was huge. I mean, thinking back on that whole battle, I don't know if any single individual there other than him could have put her down, so to speak. And that also was, served to help free the heart of the crippled god. In and of itself, an act of compassion, whether he intended it as such or not. I mean, it is what it is. All right. Now, one other thing I want to mention about his kind of like post giving up the powers of the god of death situation, and all that is essentially the moment he returns and he is seated in his frozen body upon the throne of ice, and he's surrounded by his 14 undead Jaghut captains, who he essentially betrayed. That we learn later on, to take the seat of the High King of Death. And instead of, just kind of going along with things or going with the flow or just kind of trying to make an excuse for everything, no, what does Hood do? He abases himself before his captains and basically begs or seeks for penance from them for his betrayal. And, luckily they refuse and they forgive him, which is a huge deal. I mean, it kind of just highlights the whole idea of, I don't know, a hidden well of compassion within the Jaghut. But that's just a personal little theory of mine. But I don't know. I just thought that the first thing that he did when noticed that he's surrounded by these 14 captains that he basically abandoned was, instead of trying to, do the godly thing of like explain it away somehow and I need your help now. No, he abases himself. And it's just these little things, these little details that would be easy to kind of gloss over that kind of make Hood, in my opinion, the best god. The best god. Yeah. All right. Now we're getting into some of the goofier things, and I'm just going to go through this list here, and I think we all know what I'm about to do, and we all know what I'm about to talk about. Hood's balls. Hood's hoary balls. Hood's leathery feet. Hood's balls on a skillet. Hood's balls skewered on a spit. Hood's balls under a big rock. I mean, the curses. I'd say he accounts for probably about 90% of the curses in the Malazan universe. And they're all glorious and hilarious and wonderful and fun. I mean, that's another reason why I chose one for my name. And it's the best one, if you ask me. Hood's Bony Prang. I mean, come on. It's a dick joke. What's not to like? I don't know. I'm just, that's like the 14-year-old in me just going, yeah! But yeah. He is such an amazing, interesting, deep character that most of the time we just kind of see little glimpses and hints and little things here and there, tiny little vignettes dealing with Hood and his relationships with others. I mean, there are a couple things, a couple of actions that he took that I maybe don't necessarily agree for. Or agree with. For example, his kind of the whole thing and his whole kind of supposed beef between him and Whiskey Jack towards the end there, because Whiskey Jack stole away Dun Sparrow, his half sister, who was supposed to be promised to Hood because mom died during childbirth and father was dead already or what have you. I can look over that because of all the other amazing, like, compassionate, awesome, and then just straight up badass things he does. And the eating of faces. I mean, come on, fork roll face. It's delicious. It's the other white meat. And you can take that one to the bank. All right, you guys. That's pretty much it for me today. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions, hit me up in the comments down below. don't forget to like and subscribe. I've never said that before. This feels weird. But yeah, like and subscribe if you're enjoying the 2 videos I put out so far. But trust me, I've got more coming. I've got a lineup of about 6 or 7, I believe, other videos that I'm going to be posting. And look for my videos probably on Sundays and Mondays. That'd probably be your best bet. Other than that, all right, all my legions of little deathly followers, Hood himself, out.